Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Let's recap the Sunday action. Do we have another injury to a star running back? I really hope not. Welcome, everyone, to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Marion Hampton in a walking boot after the game. We'll talk more about that, but we got winners and losers. You know, usually I ask you, hey, who's QB1? Who's RB1? I haven't even looked, so maybe I should ask myself. Because it's hard. It's hard when you
RB1 is either Rico or Bill. I think probably Rico.
Oh, it's definitely Rico. Was Bill really that good? I mean,
Bill was good, but he wasn't Rico good.
Yeah, Bill stunk. Bill was 5. Believe it or not. Rico was tied with Jonathan Taylor. Remember him? He scored. They both had big games. Okay, QB1. What are we thinking here?
Well, you tell me.
He's looking at it.
If you really say you don't know.
No, I think I saw that one accidentally as I was trying to look up running backs.
Heath, do you know? I already know.
Is it Dak?
It was very close to being Dak, but it is not. Dak and Sam Darnold tied for second. Number 1, C.J. Stroud against the defense that everybody loves to beat up on these days, the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm going to go Chase, wide receiver 1. Oh, no, Egbuka.
Well,
no,
you got to pick one. One of them's right, one of them's wrong. Which is it going to be?
Chase.
Nope, Egbuka. 31 PPR points, 7 catches, 163 yards, and a touchdown.
Tight end 1 is Darren Waller.
Nope.
AJ Barner.
Yep. 2 touchdowns.
I knew I was going to say that. Oh, all right. Yeah, Jake Ferguson also with 2 touchdowns, but Barner with a better day. Anyway, welcome to the show. Let's go. Biggest
4
winner.
tight ends with 20-plus PPR points. 4.
Whoa. Yeah, this week's mailbag is going to be amazing from Gruber. Yep, I'm going to have to pay up that bet, which I'm not going to say because Dan's listening. I'm going to have to pay up that bet, and it's going to be horrible. All right, biggest winner. Heath, what do we got?
You should. I always get beat to the punch, and then you always ask me first when I don't have the biggest winner, so I have to steal someone else's biggest winner.
One of all. Go for it.
The biggest winner is Bill.
Okay.
27 PPR fantasy points. He had a fumble, but he got the next running back carry after that, so I think it's okay. They were talking throughout the broadcast how it seemed very obvious, talking to everybody in Washington, that this split, they might continue to use 3 running backs, but they were going to move more and more towards Bill. They did in this game. He was awesome, and he had a couple of runs where he broke through 1 or 2 tacklers and almost broke through another for an even longer run.
Yeah, looks like a star. I mean, crazy. And he gets Chicago and Dallas next, and it's good stuff for Croskey-Merritt. Started in 41% of leagues. Real quick, Bill or Judkins rest of the season?
It's still Judkins, but Croskey-Merritt, I don't want to, live in the moment and say now he's going to be amazing forever and all that stuff, but it's encouraging. It's really encouraging. And to anybody that's been watching Commanders football, it's been obvious. He's way faster, way more elusive than Rodriguez and McNichols.
Well, okay. And Cliff Kingsbury said a couple weeks ago, yes, he's great with the ball in his hands. So we need him to do all the other things that we ask running backs to do.
Sure.
Hopefully he's getting better at some of those things, although holding on to the ball also has to be one of those now.
This was also the first game he had multiple first quarter touches in. He had 3 touches in the first quarter, 21 total yards. So they're going to start using him earlier in the game. And the snap share. Are you interested in that, Adam?
Yeah, I said real quick, so I was hoping that we can get to the losers.
All right, we'll do it later then. We'll give everybody a big cliffhanger for the snap share for the Commanders running backs.
All right, biggest loser, Dave.
The biggest loser. Who did I send in?
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers isn't a big enough loser. I want to talk about Jameson Williams, who is no Jameson Mazowskis, but he is definitely someone that's got to be on the loser trail. We've got a game where the Lions threw 4 touchdowns, Goff threw 3 of them. This was an easy matchup, easy money for Jameson Williams, and he came up so small. And it's really been one game where he's been good, and it was only on a couple of catches because he caught a deep ball, and everything else with Jameson Williams has been ugly, and no one wants to start him, and no one wants to be the guy that cuts him. And I get it, because he is still, it's not like he's slow out there. It's not like he's banged up. It's not like he's only playing 25% of the snaps. I still feel like he's going to matter this year, but I can't start him on my fantasy team unless I'm absolutely desperate at wide receiver or flex. And so he's in that no man's land, Adam. We talk about those players as like the worst kind of fantasy players to roster because you know they're good, but you also know that you can't really start them. And to me, he's one of the biggest losers of the week because he had the matchup, he had the quarterback, he's had it all year. And one game this year he's been good, and he couldn't get it done against Cincinnati in a game the Lions put up a ton of points in.
Yeah, well, I think you're missing the big stat is he had 100% catch rate today, and I think that's something that he can build on. Of course, he had one target. So did Egbuka, right? But for Jameson, it was one catch for 9 yards on one target. Listen, we have a lot of other podcasts because right now it's just a great time in the sports world. We've got we got a Hoops podcast that's starting up. We got a college football podcast that is immensely popular. So I'm sure you probably already know about all that. But if you want to see all of our podcasts, cbssports.com/podcasts. And then, of course, we have FFT Dynasty. We have Fantasy Baseball today. All that, cbssports.com/podcasts. News and notes. It wasn't that bad of a day, knock on wood. Kyler Murray left and came back. Rico Dowdle left with cramps. He came back. Jordan Mason left but came back. But Omari and Hampton, that's the big one. Also, we'll get back to Hampton in a second. Darius Slayton left with a hamstring injury. Xavier Worthy has ankle and shoulder issues. So let's talk about that real quick here. For anyone who's got Worthy in their lineup, if you're watching live and you have 20 minutes to make this call, Xavier Worthy versus Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir or something like that. Heath, what do you make of the situation? Because there's a report today that they've added him to the injury report and he's questionable, Xavier Worthy.
I know you said you don't look at your scores when you're making a decision, but this would be a great time to look at your scores when you're making a decision. If you feel like 5 more points is probably going to win you your week, then I would just go ahead and start just about anybody that you think is going to score 5 points tonight over Xavier Worthy. But for the most part, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. At least it wasn't the wrong button. It wasn't the wrong button. Cameron Wolf from NFL Network said that he got off the plane and his ankle was a little bit swollen. So they're adding him to the injury report for precautionary reasons. They'll see how he feels tomorrow.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like a big concern, but there's no reason to take a chance if you just need a couple points.
Okay. I got a tweet here from, I don't know who this is, so I'm not going to read it.
Is it a name? Is there a name on the tweet?
Yeah, I'll tell you who it is. Maybe you know who it is. And then if it's good enough, I'll go with it. But you know what? I'll just text it to you real quick. But we'll move on. While I text this to Dave, Heath, talk about Omari and Hampton and if he were to miss time, who you'd be interested in.
Unblock Azer from my phone.
Yes. It was a kind of a split between Haskins and Vidal. I did not think either one of them looked very good, but Vidal probably looked a little bit better. Haskins was working ahead of him, though, and Haskins had a more secure spot coming into this week. I don't really think that I want to start either one of them if Omari and Hampton misses time. I think it'll be a timeshare. Oh, never mind. They face the Dolphins. Start them both. They're top 10.
All right, he's in a walking boot after the game, Omari and Hampton. I saw him. He was on the sideline running, trying to get back in the game. It didn't happen. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We would love that matchup. The Dolphins, I can't remember which running back they faced today. Did he do well? Oh, yeah, he ran for 200 yards. So hopefully we get Hampton back next week. So the tweet I was referencing was from Matt. You got to know how to pronounce it. Verderami. He
One
is,
of the two. He's with Sports Illustrated.
Okay, and he covers Kansas City. And he said that he is not that he's hearing that Xavier Worthy should be good to go. The expectation is he will be okay for Monday Night Football.
All that you could have just said.
He said almost the exact same thing as the guy that Heath referenced from the NFL Network.
Yes.
Okay. Offensive line, defense. You know what? Just not really a lot today. That's good. So we'll move on. BetMGM. I always want to tell you about BetMGM. I did not complete my 2-team parlay. Money line on the Hurricanes and the Giants. We got halfway there, but
the right half
didn't work out. So the right half, but I'm still bringing that playoff energy.
Did the Yankees win?
Did the Yankees win? They scored 7 runs and they had their ace on the mound. Of course they lost 13-7. Bring that playoff energy to your pro football bets all season long with the Pro Football Boost Pack. Gives you 3 ways to boost your payout on a winning bet. Just log into your BetMGM account, receive your Boost Pack. Place any pro football bet and apply one of the tokens. Make sure to bet up to the minimum stake, odds, and legs specified on the token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout from opening kickoffs to game-winning drives. This Pro Football Boost Pack is your ticket to unforgettable moments this season. So don't wait on the sidelines. Join the action with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Quick look at the early waiver wire. Any names? How about, I've got to buy or sell about this, but if you saw Calvin Ridley on your waiver wire, he's 72% rostered.
I would add him.
5 catches, 131 yards, and 10 targets. Would he be a big-time ad for you?
I mean, it would depend on the desperation in my receiving room. I'm probably not going to spend like over 15 or 20%, but he's an ad.
He looked good today. First time this year that he's looked good. It came against Arizona. We know their secondary has been banged up. He had double-digit targets. First time that's happened this year. He caught half of them. I'm not ready to go. I'm with you, Heath. I'm not ready to say that he's worth a big, fab drop. But we could talk about some other names as the show goes on, and we can measure them against Ridley. Maybe he's worth the first round of waiver claims. Maybe he's worth 10% of fab.
No, he's probably rostered in most of your leagues, but 72%, so there's a chance. Anyone else that really comes to mind other than the Chargers running back situation?
I was wanting to go ahead, Dave.
Michael Carter.
No, I don't have anything.
Michael Carter is 66% rostered. Everybody went for DeMarcado on CBS, even though we said it was close, but we like Carter better. And he was horrible with his 16 carries, but he had 16 carries and 5 catches. So
I think we're a little bit of a surprise. And DeMarcado broke away. Hold on. Did you see this?
Yeah,
DeMarcado broke away for a long run, 71 yards. He gets to the goal line. There's a defender next to him, but he doesn't touch him. He drops the ball right at the goal line.
Yeah.
So another week where a guy, I guess for lack of a better term, voluntarily lets go of the ball before actually crossing the plane into the end zone. It's ridiculous that it happens even once. Twice in 2 weeks is crazy. And it happened to DeMarcado. He's a knucklehead for it. And he really only played on passing downs and third downs for Arizona.
Mason Taylor appears to legitimately be the number 2 option. He had 12 targets today. Justin Fields threw about 40 passes. So there's some names for you on the early waiver wire. Sam Darnold, let me check his roster percentage, but he is 49
because he was on our stash list on Thursday.
49% rostered. He's at Jacksonville. I don't know if Jacksonville will force them to throw enough, but Sam Darnold, if he's going to throw, he's going to be good. All right, let's take a break. Come back with some buy or sell and some winners and losers. And Jamie should be here soon, and we'll be right back.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Let's do some buy or sell. Here we go. Buy or sell number 1. Dak Prescott will outscore Jalen Hurts rest of season.
I will sell.
You can kind of see it, though, can't you, Heath?
Oh, I mean, I think coming into the year, we had Hurts was 4 or 5, and I think Prescott was 7 or 8 for me. So, I mean, it's not that big of a leap.
No.
But I'd still sell.
I'm fired up about what we're seeing from Dak Prescott.
Me too.
He's playing great. He really is playing great. And
there's your waiver wire ad. Ryan Flournoy.
Ryan Flournoy, maybe. Lamb should be hopefully back soon. They didn't put him on IR, but this would be the third week that he would miss next week. He's missed 2. And Dak's been great. All right. The other thing is, like, are you worried about Jalen Hurts, who has scored more than 24.3 fantasy points only once this season?
I feel like we went through a stage with Hurts last year where he didn't perform to expectations. And in a game where he rushed 2 times for 3 yards, he still had a pretty good stat line for fantasy. It wasn't as good as Dak or Justin Fields or any of the other guys that had monster games. CJ Stroud, obviously, but it still wasn't bad. He shouldn't have crushed you.
No,
it's just a matter of can he hit the upside of getting north of 25 fantasy points per game from here on out?
How many times has he scored 23 points?
Yeah,
he hasn't been below that once, I don't think. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
well,
once against Kansas City. He had 1 bad game, but
Do you have his fantasy points each week so far?
Yeah.
Hit it.
24.3, 6 point per passing touchdown. Jalen Hurts, 24.3 against Dallas, 11.5 at Kansas City, 35 against the Rams in the comeback effort, 23.4 at Tampa Bay, 23.5 against Denver.
So I feel like that was really dishonest framing. To say, are you worried about Jalen Hurts? He hasn't scored more than 24.3 fantasy points once, and he's scored 23 or more in 4 of 5 games.
I was just saying he hasn't popped. He's only popped once in 5 games. I'm saying, are you worried about his upside?
No, because he's still going to deliver upside where he has games like today and scores a touchdown on the ground on top of it.
He actually had his fewest rushing yards in a game since he became a starting quarterback, other than, I think, a couple games where he left with an injury. No. Just in general, he had 3 rushing yards. Fewest rushing yards since he became a starter. All right,
Adam, if A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith didn't complain this week, does Jalen Hurts run 8 times for 65 yards and maybe score a touchdown?
Okay. Next
You
up.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but I actually like when he throws more. But
I like when he does both, and 38 pass attempts is usually out of the norm for Hurts.
Buy or sell, we should just accept that Emeka Egbuka is amazing, and we should not sell high on him.
Buy. Just keep him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably depends on how high you could sell now. I think this week, if I could sell Egbuka for CeeDee Lamb, I would do it.
Okay.
That's fair.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi. How are you?
Folks.
I'm good. I'm fine.
Good.
I'm annoyed that I lost to you in a league, but whatever.
Maybe start tight end next time.
You know what? I'm glad I didn't. I made the decision to start a player on a bye because I didn't want to bench anyone. And there's no tight end in the world. Unless I'd started AJ Barner, maybe I could have beaten Jamie. But
I wonder what Dan's take is going to be on that.
All right. Buy or sell. David Njoku is back to being a must-start tight end. Njoku had 6 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown on 9 targets. Fannin only, I think, had 4 targets in this game. So Dylan Gabriel maybe loves Njoku, and he's 69% roster, by the way. Might be available. Buy or sell. I'll throw it to Jamie. David Njoku is back to being a must-start tight end.
I don't want to buy it, but I certainly will be picking him up. I think there's the hope that Gabriel, with the way that he plays, might just want to, hopefully feature Njoku. But I think, just given the state of the position and what our hopes were for him, if you still have him, you should be encouraged. And like you said, if he's available on waivers, he's probably somebody to go get.
Okay.
I'd be encouraged because Gabriel, listen, he played Minnesota. It was clear their game plan was get the ball out quick and don't look for deep throws. And those 2 things have always favored David Njoku, at least since he broke out a couple of years ago. And without Cedric Tillman there, that's one less mouth to feed. Don't really care about Thrash getting a target later or Isaiah Bond getting 7 targets. I don't know if that's going to be the norm for him. I'm okay with going back to Njoku now, and especially next week for the Browns. They play the Steelers. It's going to be the same type of situation. Pass rush is going to be on Dylan Gabriel really quick. He's got to get the ball out. Njoku can be that short area target.
I'm much more comfortable saying David Njoku is a must start in week 6 than David Njoku is a must start rest of season.
Yeah, well, I had to make it difficult, Heath.
I think I'd have to sell the rest of season.
Okay. All right, let's go to our winners. Dave's winners are Jacory Croskey-Merritt, who we talked about. And how about Rico Dowdle? 84% rostered, 67% started. Rico Dowdle. So he gets Dallas next week. We don't know about Chuba Hubbard's status, but he goes for 23 carries, 206 yards, 1 touchdown, plus 3 catches for 28 yards. He is RB1 going into Sunday night.
Oh, revenge game next week.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You know what, Dave? Buy or sell? Rico Dowdle is the number 1 running back for the Carolina Panthers rest of season.
I'm not ready to say that just yet because once Chuba Hubbard's back, I could see an annoying split between the 2. I think Dowdle's earned at least that much, but he barely made it through this game, man. He was limping off the field at one point for the Panthers. 23 carries was a lot for a dude who wasn't getting anywhere near that much work at any point this season. And he was banged up and he took on Miami. And we know that Miami is one of the best matchups in the world. That being said, Dallas is a pretty damn good matchup too. I'm kind of hoping that Dowdle doesn't even practice this week. Maybe one day on Friday. Chuba's still out. Let Dowdle run wild again. Fantasy managers should feel good about that. And then once Chuba does come back, if Carolina's offense can actually build off of this game and be a little bit better and put up more points, or at least as many points as they did today, then Dowdle maybe on 12 carries a game could be a flex option, maybe a seldom used starter. So it's a nice guy to have on your team for now. I wouldn't think about him as being an anchor on your squad rest of season, like a must start guy rest of season, unless something happens to Chuba.
If you guys had Jalen Warren and Chuba Hubbard on your team,
I was just going to say the same thing. What's happened the last 2 weeks is amazing.
Yeah, but which
feel better about or worse about?
Yeah, which one would you be more nervous about? They're going to lose their job.
Chuba Hubbard by a mile.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
I think in the case of both of those guys, they both Jalen Warren more recent, but Jalen Warren and Chuba Hubbard got contract extensions by their teams.
Yeah.
Then they saw their teams add what I think most would expect would be not very exciting additions to their backfield. In the case of these two guys, the Steelers brought in somebody else with Caleb Johnson, but in the case of Gainwell and Dowdle, the contracts were next to nothing. The expectations were next to nothing. And then they get this opportunity and they have the best performance of their respective backfields. I think in the case of the Panthers, like, you can easily say, let Chuba get healthy. The Steelers, you would hope for Jalen Warren's sake, close to playing last week, has the bye week, comes off the bye, you would assume he's probably going to be closer to 100% or ready to go. So I'd be a little bit more nervous about Chuba Hubbard at this point with Rico Dowdle.
I would really think when both starters are healthy, the best case for Gainwell and Dowdle is that they're kind of touchdown dependent pains in our decision-making process.
At least with the Panthers situation, you've seen the last couple of games that they've been using Rico Dowdle. Like, he had 19 carries in the 2 games prior to this. Now, Dowdle apparently, I don't know if we knew this, Dowdle was dealing with this calf injury at the end of week 4. I'm sorry, Chuba was dealing with the calf injury at the end of week 4. So I don't know how much of that played into his 10 carries that he had.
Remember, I told you the carries were just about even in the first half. There was one more for Chubbard than there was for Dowdle in the first half last week. He's definitely got a role. All right, Jamie, your winners are Justin Fields, who scored 29.9 fantasy points against the Cowboys. And about 17.5 of those 29.9 fantasy points came in the fourth quarter. And Jalen Waddle, who also had a big fourth quarter, but he ended up with 6 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown on 9 targets at Carolina. Fields and Waddle.
So just for future reference, I'm always either going to go winner or loser with the start of the week. So last week, Gino was a loser. He will always be a loser. When I'll always use the start of the week in one of these categories. For Fields, it was ugly for a good portion of it. Not necessarily because he was playing so poorly. It was just that it felt like every time they gained some momentum, it was taken away. Breece Hall had the fumble. They couldn't sustain drives.
Penalties.
I thought he got off to a good start and then, really didn't do much. But you could kind of feel like there was going to be an opportunity for him. So thankfully, he saved his production, like you said, in the fourth quarter. In the case of Jalen Waddle, we wanted to see what would happen without Tyreek Hill there. And a little bit of a slow start, but, got the big play at the end. I think you should feel pretty good that, Waddle can be a must-start fantasy wide receiver rest of season as the lead option for Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins in their passing attack.
Who would you feel better about rest of season? I'm saying this coming off this huge game. Jalen Waddle or Jamar Chase?
Chase.
That's a great question. I'll still say Chase because we had 2 bad games for the Bengals against 2 very difficult opponents.
Yeah.
And then they take on the Lions and you see what he's still capable of doing. The only concern would be is that are they going to make a quarterback change after Browning had 3 interceptions? And is that quarterback change potentially worse? Like,
They have to.
well, is it someone who's more of a game manager that's not going to turn the ball over?
Jameis.
Well, that's the ultimate hope, right? Is that they make a trade and it's for somebody like him.
The most hilarious thing ever would be to bench a quarterback for throwing 2 minute interceptions and replace him with Jameis.
Right.
It's not just that he can't run he's been horrible. I mean, the fourth quarter was great for him, but this game was awful.
So we were kicking around some names in the green room watching this performance, and like, who are the backups that make some sense that are on teams? Like, would an Andy Dalton reunion make sense for the Bengals? I don't know if that helps Jamar Chase. Kirk Cousins is not somebody that they're going to go spend money on because they're the Bengals, unless the Falcons are willing to eat it for a certain draft pick compensation, but that probably does not happen. Russell Wilson, is he an upgrade for the receivers?
Yes. I don't know. You know what? It's a little speculative, but just to get Jalen Waddle versus Jamar Chase, a difficult decision for at least two of you. It kind of just shows where we are on both those guys. And it's a good thing for Waddle. It's not such a bad thing for Chase because we obviously like Waddle quite a bit. By the way, Justin Fields was sacked 5 times today by the Cowboys. They entered the game with 5 sacks.
Once they stopped sacking him, he started to put it together. But he was really, really thrown off by the pass rush for the Cowboys. And so once the Cowboys kind of called off the dogs, Justin Fields was able to start to play a little bit more free. It made a huge difference in him. And Jamar Chase had a Justin Fields type game where he did nothing for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, or whenever it started to get going for him the right way, he put up some good numbers. The type of game that you don't really want to watch, but you're happy with the numbers at the end. And just one last thing, one nitpick with Waddle. We know that he gets banged up pretty easily. And we know that things could really go rotten for him if Tua Tagovailoa gets hurt. And so for those reasons, I would still lean Chase, but it's close.
All right, Heath, your winners are Darren Waller. 2 Dolphins are winners today. Well, they must have won, right? Darren Waller and DeVonta Smith. Waller, I want to say all of it came in the first half. 5 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown. It's weird. On 5 targets. And DeVonta Smith, 8 catches, 114 yards on 10 targets against Denver.
Yeah, I think he played 16 snaps last week, and they said their target was 32 this week, so not even a full-time player, but the number 1 tight end on a per-game basis in fantasy football this year. Darren Waller, 17 fantasy points or more in both of his games. He went, like, the times that he's on the field, he looks like he's good again.
Yeah.
And they don't have a good number 2 wide receiver in the passing game. So I think you just have to buy in at this point, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt.
Got his snap count?
32 on the dot. I think that's what Heath was trying to say.
I didn't have the snap count. That's what they said on the broadcast.
He had exactly
they
32 snaps.
So that was exactly their plan. Was he played 16 last week? He plays 32 this week.
Wow. Okay.
Hopefully he's up to 50 sometime soon.
Okay, losers for Heath are Jameson Williams, who Dave talked about, and T. Higgins. He got the touchdown late, but 3 catches, 22 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets against Detroit. Would you consider dropping T. Higgins?
I'm not considering dropping T. Higgins, but I would sure like to bench T. Higgins. And congratulations if you got your 11 PPR fantasy points. But if you're talking about the Jamar Chase, Justin Fields spectrum of fourth quarter saving your day, this is the very bottom of that barrel with the most garbage time of touchdowns. Just Yoshevus had the same number of targets and much better production.
Yeah.
And we at least got the get right game for Jamar Chase. I hope this wasn't the get right game for T. Higgins.
He was started in 59% of leagues. They're at Green Bay next week. I'm thinking it's going to be closer to 40% next week. Start percentage for Higgins. Jamie, you had Woody. Yeah, we got to talk about Woody Marks. Woody Marks going into his bye, coming off a game with 7 carries for 24 yards, while Nick Chubb, who is 78% rostered, had 11 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Neither of them had a catch. But Woody Marks is a loser, and Alvin Kamara, out-carried by Kendre Miller, is a loser. Woody Marks, drop or hold through the bye?
It probably comes down to what your roster looks like at this point, but I would like to hold. I think, Dave kept illustrating this. I'll bring up both points that you guys made this morning and Dave throughout the week with Woody Marks, that he had taken over the third down role. I would expect, based on how this team is probably going to operate offensively when they're not playing a team like the Ravens, we see a lot more third down chances for Marks and maybe some comeback efforts from the Texans. So he's maybe more involved moving forward, especially when they can't run the ball with any level of success. So if you have to drop him, I haven't gone through all the waiver wire stuff yet, but if you have to drop him for something of a priority, then I understand that. But I would like to hold. In the case of your point, Adam, you kept asking us this morning when we were saying Rachaad White or Woody Marks or Rico Dowdle, Woody Marks, and I think Dave and I were pretty consistent that we said Woody Marks. That you kept bringing up the Nick Chubb variable, which unfortunately came to fruition, that he was too much of a factor and didn't give Marks the opportunity to perform at the level that we were hoping for. So matchup was great. Previous game was great. It seemed like everything was set up for Woody Marks to ascend, and I don't think we were alone in this thought.
No,
from a group fantasy site, whatever you want to say. But this is the frustrating part when there's committees and veterans that still earn the trust of their coaching staff. In the case of Kamara, you were to say Saints win, you would probably think he had a big part in it, and he did not. And so we've had these concerns with him throughout the course of the season so far, where not high end production, some questions about the work in the passing game, now starting to see somebody else take some touches away from him. It's 3 weeks in a row where Kendre Miller's been involved, 2 of them where he's been significantly involved. And now we have an Alvin Kamara problem, so I think it's just going to be one of those scenarios where you're probably starting him by default,
right?
With the hope that he can find the end zone, with the hope that he could still be in the 4 catch range. That number is fine. If you say 4 catches, I think we're okay with that. But 8 carries in a game where they're playing with a lead in the fourth quarter, like, this is not what we were hoping for when we drafted this guy. So it's tough. And, I think we'll see what this Patriots defense looks like. That's their next opponent. They've been really good against the run so far. And so can they get Kamara back to a level of, a point where we're comfortable enough to say must start running back. So depending on what we get next week with these backups, I know for me, I'll have Rico Dowdle ranked ahead of him. I'll have Rachaad White ranked ahead of him. Like,
Bill,
there's no trust factor right now for me with Kamara as a must start guy.
Bill against Chicago next week.
Bill over Kamara.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't think Bill is going to fall into the Woody Marks trap personally. It feels a little different, but I wonder if people are going to feel that way. Like, if I want to see one more game of Bill getting a lot of work before I buy into it. RJ Harvey went from close to 20 touches last week. Not that he was taking over for Dobbins, but a big role last week to nothing this week. So we'll see if people buy in with Croskey-Merritt. I suspect they will. But, Dave, people bought into Juwan Johnson, although he's only, is this right? 68% rostered. Coming off a bad game, and he had another bad game. And 68% rostered, 34% started. 2 catches, 17 yards on 4 targets. Jacoby Myers, meanwhile, 4 catches, 32 yards on 6 targets. Is the Juwan Johnson experiment over? Is he droppable? And are you sitting Jacoby Myers against Tennessee next week?
I think Juwan Johnson is definitely droppable. This was the first game with, I don't know how much Foster Moreau played. It might not be that much, but Taysom Hill was back on the field, and he had 6 runs in the game. It was for negative yardage. He threw a pass in the game, and that's taking work away. They also got a deep touchdown to Rashid Shaheed. Olave had his targets. Kamara had 6 targets. So I think that we should be allowed to be really nervous about Juwan Johnson and that he might fizzle out. So I think at best he's a maybe start. And if you're not starting him, why are you benching him? There are other tight ends that are out there, like Mason Taylor at this point, with the target volume that he's been getting. And we know that he's been playing 70% of the snaps pretty much every game this season. I think you roll with him moving forward and you leave Juwan Johnson at the rest stop 5 miles behind you. With Jacoby Myers, it's really more of a vote against Geno Smith. This was the setup that should have come out, like with Jacoby Myers having a huge game. There's no Brock Bowers. The Raiders were trailing, and Jacoby Myers just could not get anything going. He's going to be tough to trust because of, not necessarily because of what he's doing. I don't think he's doing anything wrong, but I think Geno is just screwing up way too much. And it's taking everybody down with him in Vegas, except Genty had a decent game.
I'm not going to rank him as high next week, and I've been too high on him. But I think when he's playing the Titans, it's probably just a Jobu week.
For Jacoby Myers?
Probably
I
still
think it's
starting.
more of a, does Geno have another crappy game? Does he get benched? Because if they lose to the Titans in their building and he's awful again, you have to bench him if you're the Raiders.
And they might do it already. I mean, there was a point in the fourth quarter where Kenny Pickett was getting equipment put into his helmet.
You know what I think is going to happen on Monday? Bold prediction. I think Brian Dable's getting fired. That's what I think.
Oh, no.
And I think he should have to pay up this bet, not me.
After
right.
going from winning by between 2 and 3 scores, do you think the coach is getting fired?
I didn't say that.
I mean, it's hard to craft an argument for him.
Yeah, I mean, the argument, well, I won't get into it, but it's easier to craft one against him. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. We'll get into all the games, including the stinking Giants. I'm a Titans fan now, letting you know. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today.
Mr. Richard?
Yeah, Doc.
Unfortunately, Mr. Nibbles crossed the Rainbow Bridge moments ago.
He was the best hamster I have ever known.
I know this is a difficult time for you, but would you happen to know of any deep stash dynasty tight ends I could zero in on for my draft tonight?
Jatavion Sanders.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss.
All right, welcome back. So goal line work, anything that matters here. Michael Carter scored from the goal line. Zonovan Knight also scored from the goal line, but that was after he had a long run and got down to the 1, and they just let him finish the drive and score. Tony Pollard was in the game. He scored from the goal line, so that was encouraging. Ken Walker, if you're sitting there as a Ken Walker manager going, man, he's never going to score from the goal line. He got to carry first and goal from the 7. He got to carry second and goal from the 5. He got down to the 2-yard line. They took him out on third down, which is not a surprise. They put in Charbonnet, and they threw a touchdown, I believe, to A.J. Barner on that play. So they're probably going to split goal line work there, I would guess, favoring Charbonnet. But Walker will be in there a little bit, and Walker ran really well again. Almost touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr. right out of the gate came up a yard short of a touchdown, and it went to Michael Carter on the next play and as a rushing touchdown. And it would have been a pretty good game for Kyler. You know, not great, but over 20 fantasy points. But, you know, he gets 15, 16 points. Mari DiMercato, we talked about his almost touchdown. Breece Hall came up a yard short of a receiving touchdown. Darius Slayton didn't have an almost touchdown, but he did drop a deep ball. And then he was also underthrown on a flea flicker deep ball. Bryce Young missed Tommy Tremble. It was a horrible day for Tommy Tremble, but he actually probably should have had a touchdown. Bryce Young made a bad throw there. Jalen Hurts missed A.J. Brown for a deep touchdown. Brown also drew a pass interference call right near the end zone on Patrick Surtain to set up a score. And Gunnar Helm, who actually got in the mix. There was a report that he would, and he did get in the mix. He came up a yard short of a touchdown. On the next play, he drew a pass interference penalty. And then on the next play, Tony Pollard scored. All right. All that said, let's get to the game starting in London. Fun finish. This was a pretty cool day of football, I thought. I mean, the 1 o'clock games were a lot of blowouts, but the London game was fun. The 4 o'clock games were fun. Minnesota 21, Cleveland 17. Heath, take it away.
Believe it or not, Quinshon Judkins is the best rookie running back rest of season.
I don't believe it, but he's in the mix.
Yeah, can we if Hampton's healthy, probably Hampton, right?
Probably Hampton.
Man, Judkins is so good.
He looks great.
Yeah, he's a stud. Okay, anything from this game? Let's see. Jordan Mason did fumble, but they stuck with him. You know what? Kudos to him. 13 carries.
Sort of stuck with him.
Xavier Scott also got hurt in the game
and fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you guys at with Jordan Addison? Because he got benched at the beginning of the game, but he ends up with a touchdown on 6 targets. Carson Wentz threw 34 passes. Heath, where are we at on Addison?
I think he's probably somewhere between. This is a big range, but it's the same type of guy. Like he's that Marvin Harrison, Jameson Williams type of player that he's probably not going to have the type of targets that make you feel great about starting him every week, but he's going to have the ability to score on a long play every week. And so you have to at least consider him, which makes him a boom bust number 3 wide receiver.
I don't know, man.
Who is
he
the
had 8
quarterback
targets
for the
last
Vikings
week.
coming out of the bye week?
Jamie, go ahead. What'd you say?
Who is the quarterback for the Vikings coming out of their bye week?
And it's Philadelphia coming out of the bye week too.
I would guess McCarthy.
I would guess.
I mean, that's the biggest thing for me when it comes to Addison. If it's Wentz, I'd be much more encouraged. If it's McCarthy, I'm going to be concerned.
I like that Addison had 8 targets last week and essentially 6 targets and a half of football this week.
Denver 21. You know what? I'm sorry. Keep that graphic up. I think we should say something about Dylan Gabriel. Not necessarily as a fantasy option, although he did score 20 fantasy points against Minnesota.
It was an improvement. He was an improvement for that offense compared to Flacco.
Believe it or not, Dylan Gabriel's the best rookie quarterback rest of the season.
Don't believe that. But I do believe that he will. He put Njoku back on the radar. There will probably be some weeks where one of Bond or Jerry Jeudy have some good numbers. I think he's for his first. I thought he was a solid game manager in his first game against Minnesota, especially considering the circumstances. That was a tough spot for him to be in.
Yeah. Can I just say, in terms, you mentioned the rookie quarterbacks. Just I'm very proud of my Titans for winning this game on the road. Gutty win for us.
I think it was nice of them to make it to where the Giants did not have the worst loss of the week.
Yeah, that's true. But can they stop dropping passes? They drop everything. All right, Denver 21, Philadelphia 17. Game of the week. It was a good game of the week.
Crazy game.
I don't know how Denver won. Good for them.
Philadelphia's offense got unplugged in the second half.
Quite a comeback. Heath, what do we got here?
Evan Ingram's back on the streaming radar. Jets, Giants, Cowboys coming up.
Sure. Believe that.
Sure.
Yeah, we're all super pumped about that.
Well, we talked about RJ Harvey. There's nothing to say about Cortland Sutton. He's awesome. You had an asinine comment about Jalen Hurts.
What?
DeVonta Smith was a winner. I don't know what to make of Dallas Goedert getting 9 targets.
Because you've mentioned every Eagle except for A.J. Brown, who had 5 catches for 43 yards on 8 targets.
It's kind of what we've gotten this year.
Buy low, buy low, buy low.
I would still agree with that.
Buy low. Dun, 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 dun. Right, we got something there. We got the Snow White, I think.
I said that to you last week.
All the things that we're going to reference at Snow White.
I kept saying buy low, buy low. It's off to Miami we go, or whatever we're saying.
Oh, I don't think I got that.
No.
You got to sing it, dude. Let me hear the singing. By the way, I was wrong. Dave was right. Quinion Mitchell did shadow Cortland Sutton. At least it seemed that way. I mean, every time I saw Sutton, he was being covered by him.
Riley Moss is not the greatest cornerback.
No, he's not.
He's been struggling the past couple of weeks.
All right, Houston 44, Baltimore 10.
On J.K. Dobbins, 51% of the snaps. He had both of their snaps inside the 10. Harvey actually played behind Bidet. Bidet had 26% of the snaps. Harvey was third on Denver at 21%. Come back to me. I'll let you know what Dobbins' snap share was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, because I think his number is starting to really slide. Might be a sell high time. Yeah, week 3, J.K. Dobbins played 69% of the snaps. Week 4,
but he gets his carries. He gets 1 catch a game, so that might change.
That's a little problem.
You should know that with Dobbins. You should not expect a lot of work in the passing game, but he's running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. He's hyper efficient. He's their goal line back. I don't know. Do you kind of feel like just accept it? Maybe. Yeah, no, I wouldn't argue with the sell high, but also you could just accept him as like a guy you're starting most weeks.
Sure. In the meantime, while you're trying to sell high on him.
Okay. Baltimore stinks and Houston stinks less today. 44-10. Did not know the Texans had this in them. They had the ball for 36 and a half minutes. Heath, what do we got?
Derrick Henry is not a starting running back against the Rams this week.
You can talk now.
Nobody wants to.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is assuming.
I may end up having him top 24.
Bill or Derrick Henry next week?
Bill.
You can make the case for Bill because of the matchup and because he's got a chance of, assuming the game doesn't go sideways for the Commanders, he could end up with more touches than Derrick Henry.
He was their passing downs back today. I mean, he's doing it all.
Not exactly. Who? Merritt?
Bill.
Not exactly, but more so than in the past. So he's making.
Okay, I'll rephrase. He was catching passes for them today.
Yeah, and he'd been catching like a pass each of the last 2 games. So the fact that he was doing more, it's a great sign. Derrick Henry didn't catch anything except, a bunch of Texans in his grill every time he ran the ball.
Listen, this is the fear with Derrick Henry for the rest of the time that Lamar Jackson is going to be out, and potentially as long as their defense is bad. If they are chasing points, he is irrelevant unless he finds the end zone. And so if you're excited about 9 PPR points, 10, maybe 11, like that's the type of player that he is at this point of the season. Things will get better. I think he is a good buy low candidate because hopefully Lamar Jackson is back maybe after the bye, probably not next week. So we went through their schedule as well. It's a fairly, I don't know. There are a lot of winnable games in their schedule with Lamar Jackson health.
Yep.
So it's the right time to go get him, especially with their bye week coming up. But to start him next week against the Rams, which has been a very solid run defense for the better part of a year, it's tough to say he's going to do well, especially if their defense is still as beat up as it is.
Okay. Zay Flowers had the big catch to prevent him from having
12 PPR point day.
Yeah.
Andrews only had 3 targets. The Ravens only ran 40 offensive plays.
Right. It was horrible for them.
Yeah.
Probably won't be this bad. You have the Houston running back snaps?
Yeah, I wanted to put a bow on this. And this is why if I see Woody Marks on the waiver wire, I'm going to pick him up at some point during his bye week. He still led the way. It was narrow, and there were 4 running backs involved for Houston. 48% of the snaps overall. That led the way for Houston. 7 of 9 snaps on third down. 3 of 5 inside the 5. So I feel like we just got really unlucky with Woody Marks. I don't want to let him go if I don't have to. Chubb was at 44%. British Brooks, 15%. Dario Gumbawale got some run. I would imagine that as we move forward with Houston, it'll be much more of just Marks, just Chubb. Marks still having high value touches. I want to have that guy on my fantasy team.
Okay. So we go to the Giants and the Saints. Ew. Saints 26, Giants 14.
Well, I'd like to know your emotions throughout the course of this game, because they get out to the lead early, and you had to feel like, wow, this is Dan's prediction coming through.
I mean, for people who didn't really see, they literally handed the game to the Saints. The fumble by Darius Slayton was ridiculous. And then the fumble by Scadaboo was returned for a touchdown. And that's it.
The fumble by Dart was very ridiculous.
Well, the fumble by, I didn't even remember the fumble by Dart was the most ridiculous. It was, they could have easily won that game. This was a ridiculous, and the penalties and turnovers.
Thank you.
Coach is going to get blamed. He's getting fired tomorrow. You'll see. All right, Heath, what are we talking about from fantasy here?
Believe it or not, Theo Johnson should be have a higher roster rate than any Giants wide receiver.
I'll believe that.
Because coming into today, it was like 54% for Darius Slayton, 82% for Wandale, 27% for Theo.
At a position of need and what he's done in 2 games with Dart, like, why would you not buy into this?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I need wide receiver more than I need tight end.
We know how much you feel like you need tight end. You just chose not to start one this week.
In 2 receiver leagues, no, but in 3 receiver leagues, I'm looking for warm bodies at wide receiver.
If you had started Theo Johnson, would you beat me?
No, I don't think so.
Wow, you really smacked him around, James.
Yeah,
like the Saints smacked around the Giants.
He had 21 fantasy points.
He was awesome. 7 targets, 6 catches, 33 yards. Like, the one thing that really bothers me about Theo Johnson is that he's such a short area target, such a red zone guy. You're really only starting him on the hope that he gets 6 targets and that he catches a touchdown. He's average single digit catch averages, 8.5 yards per catch or less in 4 or 5 games.
How many points did he score?
I believe 21.3.
I lost by 21. No decimals in this league, so I think we would have tied. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
so I'm not quite there yet with Theo Johnson. He's on the radar for sure. But I think there's other tight ends that we will talk about, like AJ Barner. He's kind of the same guy.
What do you guys think about Olave and What do you think about Olave and Shaheed?
Again?
What?
I'm sorry, we're not supposed to talk about the Sunday night game while it's happening.
Oh, Bills fumbled again?
No, someone
Oh,
fumbled
Ramondre
again.
fumbled going in again?
Ramondre did? Oh.
We need a clever.
Well, the Bills just fumbled and then Ramondre fumbled.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Fumbles on back-to-back
Focus, guys. Focus. How do we feel about the
Ka-
Saints receivers?
Did Keon Coleman get benched?
Okay, moving on to a new game.
Chris
Carolina
is a
20.
good DPR option. Rashid Shaheed's a good boom bust flex.
All right, Carolina 27, Miami 24.
Do we have any reason to be concerned about Devon Achane?
Why?
No.
Almost no targets last week. No rushing this week.
How many games does Devon Achane have more than 12 carries in?
I want to say like 2.
1.
I want to say like 1.
He scored more than 17 fantasy points.
Of course, the
once.
Jets.
Now, he's going to kill me for this, but he scored more than 17 fantasy points once. He's been right around 17.
Oh, it makes me so angry.
But he's not getting really enough touches to have these, big total yardage games because he keeps scoring. It's a little frustrating.
Do you think they go to Antonio Gibson or do they go to Trevion?
Come on, dude, stop. We got to do a real show here. Achane still, I'm sure, is going to be started everywhere. All right, how do we feel about Tetairoa McMillan? 6 catches, 73 yards on 8 targets against Miami. Do you feel like that's basically I know it's not the actual best that you're going to get from Tetairoa McMillan, but do you feel like if you start him that you're just happy with 13, 14 PPR fantasy points?
I think that's what you should expect at this point. This was a game that he should have erupted. He should have had 100 yards. He didn't. It was Rico Dowdle too, like taking away a lot of pass attempts from Bryce Young. He only had 30. So yeah, maybe this is like right around what we should expect from Tetairoa McMillan for now.
I think just in the case of what we typically see with rookie wide receivers, if this is the targets that he continues to garner, which has been fantastic so far, 8+ in every game so far this season, then things will get maybe significantly better down the stretch. So if there is a frustrated McMillan manager, I would go try and take advantage of that. That being said, I think he's just in the low end number 2 receiver range. But what happens maybe when Jalen Coker comes back, who's a guy that Bryce Young seems to favor?
What happened? Oh, sorry.
It's just a matter of, I think, in the case of what you're looking at, because as he starts to understand coverage and get better at his craft, like I don't think the targets are going away.
Versus Dallas, and he's at the Jets. Those are his next 2 games. I think he can score in one of those games. And Jamie, you're right on with the targets. He's had at least 8 in every game this year.
Right, but he's in the middle of this great stretch of schedule with New England and Miami and Dallas and the Jets. And so far,
I don't think New England is easy.
Well,
It
yeah,
wasn't easy for him.
but all right. Indianapolis 40 and Las Vegas 6. Woo. What?
I got nothing, Adam. Fill in for
All
me.
right. So originally, before the fourth quarter of the Bengals game, I had buy or sell. I'd rather have Michael Pittman than Jamar Chase rest of season. And then Chase did what he does, but Pittman's really good. So how about I'd rather have Michael Pittman than AJ Brown rest of season, believe it or not.
That one I could buy.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Yeah.
The Colts had what might have been the perfect game plan against the Raiders defense. They just kept widening out the guys outside, and then it was a different guy just coming underneath. It was Josh Downs at one point. It was Pittman at one point. It was Tyler Warren at one point. I mean, they were just finding soft spots in the zone and chipping their way down the field the entire time. It was just so well designed by Shane Steichen, and Daniel Jones executed it to perfection. And, you know, when you see things like that, like, is that a flaw of the Raiders defense? Probably.
Yes.
But just
it's 100% that.
Just seeing how the Colts were operating this, like it was literally unstoppable. They had the Raiders had no answer for it. And then it was just Jonathan Taylor mixing in, and just I don't know, like they're doing a lot of things very well.
Oh yeah.
At this point, like I think the question is now, maybe to Heath only. I think Dave and I kind of feel the same way. Like, are you buying Daniel Jones yet, Heath?
I mean, he's doing a very good job of playing quarterback. I just I had him 13th this week. He scored 20 fantasy points. That sounds
We had
about
him
right.
13th in a week with 4 teams on a bye, and no Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a borderline QB1.
He's got the Cardinals next week at home. 2 teams are on a bye. Could you see yourself ranking him top 12?
I think it's very possible. I mean, it was 13 today.
Right. Okay.
All right. Jonathan Taylor, 3 more touchdowns. All right. How about, oh, by the way, Michael Pittman has 5 touchdowns this year, I think. And his career high, oh, does he have 4? He's approaching a career high already. Dallas 37, Jets 22. Jets had the ball for 34 minutes and 36 seconds.
Who's
but
coach of the year right now?
really
Shane
got
Steichen?
Shanahan.
So Shanahan was going to be the one I was going to say just because managing through the injuries. But Steichen, I mean.
Oh, yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Jamie. Yeah. Great point, Jamie. So I'm just getting ready. I'm just warming up. Yeah, you're right, Jamie. Great take. All right, Heath, what do you got for Dallas and the Jets?
That was great. Dave and Heath had no idea what we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. He
do.
told us just who have we not talked about in this game?
We haven't talked about Javon.
Breece Hall was awesome today.
He was.
He was really awesome. Believe it or not.
I believe it. He almost had a touchdown too. Well, I guess I would ask: Are you concerned? Yeah. Just please don't take this question as of me being like I'm concerned about it. But each of the last 2 weeks, Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson have really late in the game, garbage time against the Dolphins and Cowboys have saved their bacon. So, is that a sign of underlying issues that we're ignoring here? With the Jets passing game.
I think if the Jets like all of a sudden had a defense, then Garrett Wilson would be in big trouble. But their defense is awful, so they're probably going to keep having to throw 15 passes in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because right now I think Garrett Wilson is one of the big storylines of fantasy football. I mean, he's having the breakout that certainly I did not think he could have, and he's been freaking great. So I think we'll talk about that maybe on Wednesday. Okay, and Mason Taylor, I think worth noting again, 12 targets, 24% rostered. They get Denver next week. We'll see what they can do. To the afternoon games, Tampa Bay 38 and Seattle 35.
Chris Godwin's not going to be startable.
I was so disappointed with the lack of targets. I think he got everything in his first half. And then the second half, Baker just started firing more to Egbuka. Certainly a little the touchdown to Sterling Shepard. I think you take a step back with Godwin now. I think maybe we rushed him into our flex too soon.
Adam, you nailed it with Darnold.
Yeah.
Thank you, I guess. I wish I'd been
It's going to be good again next week.
Yeah, well, look, I think the formula for him is they're going to have to throw more than 24 times. He's just, no one's really good enough to rely on that. And what did he throw today? 30 something?
34 times, which still isn't a huge amount. Monster game, just a really bad interception late that cost them the game.
Off a helmet. I mean, it wasn't a great throw, but
Right.
It wasn't exactly like he threw it right into the Lavonte David's hands. I think so it was 9. The 34 attempts is 9 more than his average, and just slightly more than what the Bucs were allowing per game. So they were allowing 31.5 pass attempts a game. Darnold came in averaging 25 pass attempts per game. So I think anything you're getting north of 30, you have the chance for some, I don't want to say high end production, but quality production. And I mean, you can make a case. We saw 2 of the best receivers in the NFL today, like with what JSN is doing and what Emeka Egbuka is doing. Like, these 2 guys are studs at this point.
Did I say this on the preview that ESPN has their analytics where they have an open rating for every wide receiver and tight end? They have a score. Emeka Egbuka was dead last at wide receiver in open score going into week 5. I was really stunned by that. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. I make nothing of it because the production has just been so
He's
good.
amazing.
Not a soul gives a damn because we're starting him in fantasy.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, he's doing this 5 games into his career.
Rashad White struggled to run the ball a little bit against a great run defense, but he got basically all the work. So
81% of the snaps, all the third downs, there were 11 of them. All of the snaps inside the 10, there were 3 of them. Sean Tucker it's just a handcuff at this point. Charbonnet had more snaps rather than Walker. Charbonnet, 57% of the snaps, Walker 43. All but 1 of the third down snaps went to Charbonnet. That's 8 of 9. 2 of 3 snaps inside the 5 also went to Zach Charbonnet. We are right back where we started after week 1 with these running backs.
It's amazing they go to Antonio Gibson.
Yeah. Last thing on this game.
There's something up there with Travion and why they won't feed him like we want him to.
Last thing on this game is that Cade Otton had 4 catches for 81 yards on 5 targets. Going into week 5, the Seahawks gave up the most fantasy points to tight ends. So just always keep that in mind. They have Brenton Strange. You still have a chance to pick him up. Brenton Strange next week for Seattle. Detroit 37, Cincinnati 24.
Sam Laporta is a top 4 tight end rest of the season.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm not ready to buy that. This was him taking advantage of a favorable matchup.
Sell high on Sam Laporta?
Yeah, I don't know how many games he's going to have 92 yards along with a touchdown.
The problem is that what tight end are you pivoting to?
You can start streaming. If you're ready,
I think the problem with
if you're
streaming,
if
the
you're
problem
getting a
with
stud for Laporta, then sure. But like, who's giving you something significant for Laporta?
somebody who's probably streaming tight ends and is sick of it. Somebody that picked Juwan Johnson instead of AJ Barner.
What's the problem with streaming?
There's no problem with streaming, but
sorry, that was for Heath because he kept going. The problem with streaming and couldn't get it out. What's the problem with streaming?
No, I'm not telling you.
Okay, wow, it's a secret.
I'm going to tell everybody on FFT Dynasty on Tuesday.
Okay, there you go. You know,
Jameson Williams droppable.
Well, we started the show with him, so I don't think he's droppable. But
The show you started early, that's not on the schedule. Got it.
yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that with this Lions offense, I just hope one of these weeks is the JMO week. You know, it just hasn't happened.
Back outdoors again next week. It's just not his formula.
Okay, so yeah, the David Montgomery storyline. I think he had a passing touchdown. Let's see, his start percentage was 82%. All right, that's it for that game.
He was good. He actually led the Lions in snaps.
Okay, Tennessee 22, Arizona 21.
Can I give you one last stat that they sent out? ESPN Schefter just tweeted this.
No,
it's the 14th time that they've scored a touchdown in the same game. Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yes,
that ties the record for Daryl Johnston and Emmitt Smith.
And Moose was on the call talking about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it
cool.
was.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. Let's go to the next game. Titans 22 and Cardinals 21.
The problem with streaming time. No. Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley are both starts again next week against the Raiders.
Did you say against the Raiders?
Aren't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're playing the Raiders.
That's why I'm going to consider starting them.
Oh, I heard it the same way. Like, well, you got the schedule wrong. Dave, you tricked us.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's me, Mr. Trickster. They've got New England after that. You got like one more week with Pollard and Ridley. Where you might
Tony Pollard against the Raiders or Derrick Henry against the Rams with Cooper Rush at quarterback.
Oh, it's so
Pollard.
gross. But
no hesitation, Pollard.
yeah, Pollard's got the better matchup. Should have the same amount of touches, maybe close to it. There's Henry. Certainly more catches. You can make the case.
If this is August of 2026, are you drafting a tight end in the first 3 rounds next year?
I don't think so.
As of right now, no. Except for AJ Barner.
So Pollard did fumble, but he stayed in the game and obviously stayed in the game. He stayed with the lead role. It was Spears' first game back. Keep that in mind. Spears barely got any touches, but I just want to caution on the Ridley thing a little bit. This was the worst offense in the NFL going in. It still is probably the worst offense in the NFL. So I don't think Calvin Ridley has earned automatic start status. No, it's 24 hours ago. We would have taken Io Manor over Ridley rest of season. Now we're calling Ridley a must start.
I didn't say must start.
Must start isn't the right term at all. It's a possible start. And there's only 2 teams on bye. It's going to be hard to put Calvin Ridley as a top 30 receiver in my rankings. but
Fair.
he is going to be someone that you should consider because of the matchup against the Raiders.
I'm
Who would
also
you rather
just wondering.
start in
Go
week
ahead.
6? Jay McBride or Darren Waller?
Jay McBride.
I don't know, man.
The Dolphins in their history have never had a veteran tight end emerge midway through the season and be a must-start fantasy option.
Oh, stop. Now you're making jokes.
Except this is exactly what happened last year with John Smith.
Right.
I have one league where actually it's a 14-team league where I picked up Darren Waller and I started him as a flex, but I have McBride.
McBride doesn't score touchdowns, right? What all Waller's done is score touchdowns and then get blanked in the second half against Carolina.
Keith, who did you pivot to the most, if there is an answer to that, with all your Brock Bowers shares? Like, who was the tight end you added?
Oh, probably Tommy Trimble.
Tremble?
I had Harold Fannin on the bench a couple of teams and just started him, so that worked out okay.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right, last game, guys. Commanders, Chargers. Big win for Washington. Impressive. And Justin Herbert has now scored fewer than 17 fantasy points in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues in 3 straight weeks against Denver, the Giants, and the Commanders. Heath, what do we got for this one? 27-10 Washington.
Quentin Johnston fooled you.
Oh, man.
Just the moment we all buy in on him, the number 1 wide receiver on the Chargers the rest of the season.
And is it coincidence or not coincidence that this happened when the Chargers offensive line lost their 3rd tackle, their swing tackle who was starting, and then their guard who was hurt coming into the game also left the game. And Justin Herbert was under siege. So he couldn't throw downfield to Quentin Johnston. And look who had a bunch of targets, the short area guys. Keenan Allen
Buy low.
had 7.
Buy low. It's off to Miami we go.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just buy low because of next week's matchup. You got to believe in him rest of season.
Well, I mean, yes, that is 100% accurate. But you do have to worry about the run game now if Hampton is going to miss any time with the ankle injury. There's no way to tell because he, was trying to get back in the game and then he walked off to the locker room late in the 4th quarter. I can't believe we're going to be talking about Kamani Waddle as a waiver wire guy going into week 5, but it's against the Dolphins and Rico Dowdle just ran for 200 yards against them. So Waddle might be the number 1 priority. I think in the case of Herbert, like 60 yards rushing helped him to get to 16 fantasy points. Like this is bad. This is really bad for him, so for what you've gotten out of the first 3 of the 5 weeks of the season, or 2 of the 5 weeks, I guess, of the season, you should be thrilled about that. I'm going to guess you didn't start him in a lot of leagues in week 1, taking on the Chiefs, and week 2, you probably did. And weeks 3, 4, and 5 have been largely disappointed by the production. So you should start him next week against Miami, depending on who else you have on your team. But this is now a big issue, mostly because of the offensive line concerns. I wouldn't really worry too much about Quentin Johnston. I think he'll be okay.
Agreed. I want to name 4 teams. You guys think about the pass rush on these teams. Think about the secondary on these teams. Which ones scare you? Miami,
Nope.
Indy, Minnesota,
Yep.
Tennessee.
Nope.
Only
What did you say
Minnesota,
for-
right?
What did you say for Indy? I think their defense is pretty good. it
I mean,
seems.
Doesn't
Geno
scare me,
Smith
though.
made their defense look like the 2000 Ravens today. But other than that, I don't think I think Indy is overrated based on how they played today. I think they're okay. Those are the next 4 games for the Chargers. And if Omar and Hampton is somehow out for those games, Justin Herbert is going to have some monster numbers.
Yeah.
And that means his receivers
I
are going
don't
to have
know.
monster numbers.
I don't know that the running back being out is a good thing. I've had this discussion before. I don't know if I'm right, but my theory is more like bad running game means bad offense, means 3rd and long, means fewer points.
Yeah,
So
just like the Chiefs.
what do you mean?
The Chiefs don't have a run offense, and
Yeah.
they're doing fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think there are exceptions, but I don't think. I mean, the thing with Hampton is he's such a target hog.
Yeah, that helps.
Him
And
not
if
being
he's
able to
out,
help him.
if he's
Please
out,
tell
that
me Gibson
helps
just
the
fumbled.
receivers too.
Did Gibson fumble?
No, Keon Coleman this time.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for our show. Sounds like we got a real barn burner in Buffalo going on so far. No score, but 3 fumbles. And thanks for watching and listening, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow with Beyond the Box Score on Fantasy Football Today.